Hello, Internet. I'm Matt.
And I'm Monster Punter.
And this is the Parallax Scrolling Podcast, where we give you our perspective on video games and the news that affects them. And extra stuff sometimes, like today. Yay. So we're going to try to do something a little different today.
A new format.
Kinda, yeah. We're going to test it out, see what you guys think. As always, please comment, like, subscribe. Oh, I got it all in the beginning of the video this time. Get it all. But yes, let us know what you guys think of the new format, definitely. But first off, interesting week. Good, had some good times, had some rough times, but Did you play anything extra fun this week?
I started Monster Hunter Rise on the Xbox.
Yeah, how's it differ from the Switch version?
It's a lot higher resolution, and okay. you have like a suite of options that you normally would have in a PC game. Like you can turn up and down shadows, you can do other things. They have 120 hertz mode activated as well, and so you can determine what you want to do and what you want to prioritize for your experience with Monster Hunter Rise on Xbox and PlayStation, for that matter.
So does it feel like we got gypped on the Switch version?
No, it's just The Switch is doing as well as it can.
Right, but I'm just saying, is it like this is clearly the better version of the game if you're going to get it?
Yes, the Xbox and PlayStation and PC, of course, are the better versions of the game compared to the Switch, without a doubt. But, within the confines of what the Switch can do, it does it well. And you know what? If you've been playing it on the Switch, just continue playing it on the Switch. I would, because, well, one, you can't transfer your save.
Right.
But two, it's still a good enough experience. It's 30 FPS versus upwards of 120 FPS if you want, worried about that difference. But worth playing. And I got it on Xbox because
it came with Game Pass.
Yeah, it came with Game Pass, yes. But I can also play it on my PC with some people on PC that only have PCs.
Right.
Because the Xbox version works with the Xbox app. So it's cross-play between Xbox Series and One consoles and the Xbox app on PC.
Which feels very intentional with the Xbox Ultimate Game Pass and all that.
Yeah,
it feels like that's all part of the plan.
And the people I've been playing with on PC lately, they have Xbox Game Pass on PC.
Which really you should. I mean, it's such a deal.
It's $9.99 on PC, so it's even cheaper.
You're right.
But if you want Ultimate, you get it on Xbox.
So you get it on Xbox and PC. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, speaking of Game Pass, I've been playing some games on my Game Pass. I went back to Skull the Hero Slayer. I love that game. It's so much fun.
For what it is, I can understand.
Yeah, I mean, it's something different. It's a little technical, but it's enjoyable. And the one thing I'm finding out is, so I ended up getting it also on Steam because it was on sale, because they introduced a new update. Which I was really excited for, but then found out that that's not on the console yet.
Wait, so you're telling me they came out with a PC one, but not on or an update on the PC, but not for the Xbox?
It may very well be that the update is out. It just hasn't updated. Like the Xbox hasn't done whatever they need to on their side, or the developer hasn't done something on their side. I don't know, but it doesn't feel like I have the full update on my Game Pass. Not complaining. I do enjoy what I do have. It's got some new classes that they've added since I've last played. The one thing they've had for the longest time is status effects. Like you can burn, you can freeze and stun and poison your enemies. But all the bosses were immune to that stuff. They are now no longer immune. And so it actually pays to make a build for those things, which is really cool. And so there's just new ways to play. And so I'm having fun going back to it. And I'm obviously going to play on PC eventually. But for now, I'm playing on Game Pass.
I find it really weird that they didn't come out with the update on the Xbox as well, because why would you treat part of your player base as second-class citizens? If you're the makers of Skull, the Hero Slayer, why would you do something like that? It doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, no, and like I said, I don't understand where the hang-up is. I really wish I did. But hopefully it'll come out soon. But in the meantime, I'm playing that. I'm also playing Scourgebringer, which I believe came out a couple years ago, I think. It is a roguelike, procedurally generated dungeon crawler that is very wild. like you have 4 attacks. You have your normal sword attack, you have your smash sword attack, so you have your light and your heavy. You have your dash attack, because you can dash into enemies, because gravity is a thing. And then you have your gun. And it's all about clearing rooms and getting loot and making yourself stronger and trying to survive this insanity of this tower that just came out and practically wiped out mankind. And it's like, okay, I'm sure. And it's got a very limited, how do I want to say this? Limited sprite work, I think is what I want to say. It's almost got a minimalistic feel to it, but it's really well done. And I'm actually having fun with it. Even though I suck, I'm having fun with it.
Okay, cool.
So,
and of course, I've been playing more of the Trails in the Sky second chapter.
How far are you now?
About halfway through. Story's still going pretty strong. I think it's going to be worth playing the rest of the way through, and after I'm done with that, I may move on to Trails from Zero, or I may try to break down and buy the third one in the Trails in the Sky series. But I've been told that you don't need to play that one to get the whole experience. It's more of a side story than anything else.
Do it, do it, do it.
That's $30. I don't know if I want to spend it right now.
Do it, do it, do it.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I wanted to talk. But so I've been playing those, and then when I've had time, like, since I don't have access to the PC all the time, I try to play games on it when I do. And so I've been playing Rogue Legacy 2 some more. Finally got towards the final boss and realized how far I really have to go. Like, the story has a New Game Plus setting, almost like it's mandatory. That's the feeling I'm getting. Like, I haven't beat the final boss yet to warrant New Game Plus yet, but I'm definitely getting that suspicion that in order for me to get the actual ending of the game, I'm going to have to go through this a bunch of times.
Oh, like Hades, where you had to beat it 10 times.
Right. So, which is, not terrible if the game's fun. But there was a point there where I was definitely getting some burnout because it's just like, I don't want to go through this part of the dungeon again. I'm so tired of this place. There's minor gripes I would have. For example, the fairy chest. There's random treasure chests that you get your loot, you get your gold to buy things with when you're done, or you get blueprints to upgrade your equipment. And then there's the fairy chests, and the fairy chests will give you access to runes, or the components you need, or the currency you need to buy those runes. The fairy chest puzzles in the first game were fairly well done. You can easily figure them out. But some of these are pretty insane now, and I'm not enjoying them so much. Like, some of them are like, hey, climb this tower without jumping. It's like, that's cool. That's literally a character-specific fairy chest challenge. And I can't do it with this character, and I don't know if I'm going to get this room again on another run, because the rooms randomize.
There's a reason I don't do all the achievement hunting. I am not an achievement hunter. I will never be an achievement hunter. And I think anybody who does the achievement hunting, you guys are nuts. So
but this isn't even achievement hunting. This is literally just me trying to buy things to upgrade the character so that I can survive longer. That's all this is. And so the puzzles are just like, this isn't as enjoyable as the first time. So certain things kind of suck. Certain things are great. I love the chef class. It's a brand new class. So, okay, real quick, I'm going to explain this briefly for anyone who doesn't know, like Monster. You have your weapon, you have your talent for your class, and you have a spell every time you run. So you have basically 3 different things you can do besides running and jumping to survive. The chef has a frying pan as his weapon. It applies fire damage and burns people, so it applies a debuff. You can swing it like a tennis racket and deflect projectiles, which gives you a bonus to damage when you hit something again. Your talent is you reach into a stew pot a la Kirby and you eat some soup, and then, oh look, I got health back. And it's just an insane class. And then you can upgrade these classes by getting a different weapon, and the chef's alternate weapon is called the bag of spoons. And you whip or throw wooden spoons through the air, and if they bounce off the ground, they crit. So they do extra damage. It's zany. It's zany.
I'm just going to say you missed an opportunity there. It should be a baguette of spoons, not a bag of spoons. Anyway.
No, because it's not a French game. The baguette of spoons.
Whatever. Still be better.
It'd be better if you had a baguette.
Well.
However, what's funny is the night class, because they just started... There's like now an on-running joke in the game about pizza, because you meet a pizza delivery person. The knight's upgrade weapon is a pizza. He throws pizzas, and they're like chakrams.
Okay.
It's weird. It's weird. So, but fun. Anyhow, we're going to get moving on from our video game-ness. We're nerds. That's what we do. But we got stories we need to talk about. And,
just a couple today.
Yeah, not a whole lot. But I think a couple of them are big enough that they warrant discussion. Don't you?
Sure.
All right. Why don't you lead us in?
So, there's this game that's been out for 7 years. It went into Steam. What do you call it?
Early access.
Early access. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
In 2016. And for the first time in 7 years, they're raising the price. This is antithetical to what you normally see with games. I used antithetical in a sentence today. Wow.
That vocabulary day calendar's working out for you, ain't it?
It's crazy, though, because games usually get discounted over time. This one's gone up.
Right.
And so it's a fairly expensive indie game as it is at $30. And the name of that game is Factorio.
Yep, I've actually known of Factorio.
Yeah. It's a base building game, and it's like how do I put this? Anti-environment, yeah. And it's like they're not even like shy about it, really.
Yeah, it's literally you build a factory on a planet to harvest its resources and then use those said resources to make more plants and more factories to harvest more resources. And yeah.
Yeah. But the game is going to go up $5. The developer notes that this is because of inflation. I find it really interesting that they're trying to do this because why would you do that if you were looking to get more money out of the game? Why would you not do something like a DLC? But they've never had a DLC. And amazingly, it's been received well by their player base.
Right.
Maybe this is just crazy, or maybe I'm just crazy to think maybe these people are happy about this because they've already bought in. And since there's never been DLC, there's been additions to the game, they've never had to pay another single dollar.
Right. So
it's kind of like, how do I put this? Exclusive club, I guess, maybe that feeling.
I almost wonder, and I'm not saying this to throw shade at anybody at all. That's not my intention. But I do know that Markiplier played this on his channel, and Markiplier is a very well-known YouTuber. Mm-hmm. So and he enjoys the game, but that's his style of playing. That's the way he likes to do things. I almost feel like a lot of it is his fan base coming to the game, buying it, and saying how great it is because their icon enjoys it so much.
It could be that they're influenced by that, sure.
Yeah, I kind of feel like that's the case. But the thing that's very interesting, and it was actually you who pointed it out to me, was that at the very bottom of their description on the Steam page, they have a discount disclaimer saying that they will never, for the foreseeable future, put the game on sale.
Yep.
Or discount.
The creator of this game views discounting the game as rewarding people who don't want to pay full price. So they have made...
You mean everybody?
Well, the fact of the matter is not everybody views the product as worth $30, right?
Exactly.
And economic pressures being as they are, you are going to make more money eventually if you discount a game because you have used up the amount of players that are willing to buy your game at $30.
Yep.
And now it's going to be $35. So there's going to be even less people. So if you have exhausted the people who are going to buy your game, or almost, or there's very few buying it every year, why would you not discount your game? Make some money on it, because at this point in time, all your development costs have to have been paid for. You wouldn't have a game out for 7 years if your development costs have not been paid for. You would have long abandoned this project.
Right.
It doesn't make any sense.
And it doesn't make sense for me to say, hey, we're gonna up the price of this digital product by $5 because of inflation. There is no physical release that I know of. There is no physical release of this game. You can't claim inflation. You can claim greed. You can be, hey, I want more money. But then all it's doing is proving your statement of, and how inaccurate you are by saying that you'll never give anyone a discount, because now technically you've given a discount to the people who've already bought your game.
Yeah, pretty much.
At $30. You are a hypocrite.
All I'm going to say is that it's not a game that I would play. Its player base absolutely adores it.
Right, but like if I was going to play a game like Factorio, I would rather play something like RimWorld or SimCity even. When like I had a giant robot walking over my towns, like I would rather do something like that than play Factorio. And in fact, I think we actually did talk about this. So Factorio is a game that pretty much advertises destruction of the environment. It's a kind of a tough statement to say. I get that. But you, like we said before, you are harvesting resources to build machines to harvest more resources. You really are draining the planet that you're on of resources. There is a game out there called Terra Nil. And it is the exact opposite of this game. You are putting down technology to restore the balance of the ecosystem. And I mean, when I say you're restoring the balance of the ecosystem, you put down wind generators to start actually turning and generating air on this like complete wasteland of a planet. And then you use the energy that you're generating to build up more factories that can help seed the planet. And
you're
then
terraforming.
You're re-terraforming. You really are. And you build the rivers, you go all the way to building wetlands, to building prairies, to forests, to volcano areas. You're redoing the whole planet and you're restoring the balance. And it's so cool a concept, in my opinion. If I had to choose between playing Factorio or Terra Nil, I'm going to play Terra Nil in a heartbeat.
Well, speaking of games that we want to play,
yeah,
PSVR 2 comes out this year, and I was taking a look over the games that they're going to be releasing, and there's a few games on this list I will get when I get my PSVR 2, assuming that they're out when it releases, or subsequently. Horizon Call of the Mountain looks really cool. Okay. I really do want to play that one. It looks really cool. Here's one that is a blast from the past. And I was really surprised to see it on this list.
Pong VR.
And that might be kind of interesting, though. Actually, like if the ball's coming straight at you and you got to hit it, or else it just hit. Actually,
no, it's actually just you sitting in a room playing Pong in the VR scape.
Are you saying it's like World of Warcraft? That meme once upon a time where you're watching somebody playing World of Warcraft.
Yeah, exactly.
No, but Fantavision 202X, I guess. You can't really say 2020. But that was a PS2 launch game. And now they're putting on PSVR. Might be interesting. Might give people epilepsy seizures.
I will say there are definitely a lot of games I would enjoy to see in VR. The two biggest ones I can think off the top of my head, Jumping Flash for the PlayStation 1 would be cool.
They were going the way back machine for that one.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then not so far back, but still far back, Virtual On.
Virtual On might be cool.
Virtual On would be awesome.
So for those who have never played Virtual On, it is a battle arena mech game. And I guess you could call it like Gundam's fighting, but it was way cooler than Gundam.
If I remember correctly, wasn't it like the first twin stick fighting game, 3D fighting game.
Yeah, but you were playing it on Saturn. You didn't at the arcade.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. But at the arcade, yeah.
But on the Saturn, it was definitely not that. It was hard to play.
But it was still fun.
It was still fun.
It was still fun.
Here's one that's going to be interesting. And now I know they came out with the 3D perspective update for it, but they're also going to put it on VR because the first Resident Evil 7 is on VR, but Resident Evil Village is coming to PlayStation VR too. Could be cool.
No. I play those games because I sit next to you and we can make fun of stuff as we play. I do not want to be trapped in a headspace dealing with that nightmare, right?
All right. Well,
I don't want to look at Duke in VR, okay? I do not want to see that man rolling at me in VR. That's terrifying. Okay?
Well, I'm going to play it. Here's one. You know what? I haven't played an NFL game in a long time, and I am an NFL fan.
Yeah.
But there's one called NFL Pro Era coming out. I need to look into that more before I can even consider doing it.
Ooh, NFL Blitz VR.
They're never going to do an NFL Blitz game.
I don't care.
Again.
Do it.
Do it.
I'm shaking my head violently. Do it.
They will never do it because the NFL doesn't want to show that kind of content anymore. Did you know that, from what I've been told anyway, from somebody I know who plays the latest Madden game, they don't even show injuries anymore. So...
Man, you mean the ambulance don't come on the field and run people over anymore?
That was the best part of that.
That was the best part.
But Res Infinite might be kind of cool. I don't know why you would ever buy a game called Vacation Simulator, but there it is.
If it's anything like a Job Simulator, it's actually a comedy game.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I would love... I see one of the games I got to play, but I want to play Astrobot from PSVR 1. I hope they port that to PSVR 2, because it's supposed to be one of the best PSVR games.
Right.
Hands down. And the Astrobot, that game that they put on PS5, the free one you can download.
Astro's Playroom.
Astro's Playroom is fantastic.
That is probably the best 3D platformer I've ever seen come out as a launch game, first off. Yeah. But I also think it's probably one of the best 3D platformers currently for the PS5.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah.
And really worth getting. High praise for that one. Absolutely love it. So what do you want to talk about?
Well, I wish I had something of a happier note since you were talking about PSVR 2, but I don't. I have kind of troubling news, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
There's been a lot of layoffs in the tech world this week, I would say. At least this week, maybe a week and a half.
These companies are anticipating a
recession. Some people are already claiming it's already here because it's not just... At first we knew of Google and Microsoft, but now apparently Facebook. I wish I could remember Amazon. A whole bunch of other companies are starting to make out these massive layoffs for preparing for something that may or may not happen. But unfortunately, like we said, Microsoft has laid off a lot of people, and over 10,000 people.
Mm-hmm.
And the only shining light in that little bit of news is what Phil Spencer said.
And what was that?
He basically put out an email to his staff saying that the layoffs hurt. It's hurting the company. It's hurting Xbox. It's hurting, the dream.
Okay.
And, especially with everything that's happening with the acquisition that I hate talking about. I don't like it. I'm done talking about it anymore.
He's lying, folks.
Shut up. I don't want to talk about it. But, actually, you know what? I have the email here. Let me briefly go through it, and then you and I can kind of dissect it, all right?
Okay.
This has been a difficult week across Microsoft and here inside our teams. Now that many of the one-to-one and team conversations have happened, I want to take a moment to reiterate the message that you heard from your leaders. This is a challenging moment in our business, and this week's actions were painful choices. The gaming leadership team had to make decisions that we felt set us up for the long-term success of our products and business, but the individual results of those decisions are real. I know that hurts. Thank you for supporting our colleagues as they process these changes. Over the coming weeks, we will have many opportunities to connect and answer your questions, including the monthly gaming update next week for teams who attend that meeting, and I am in close contact with teams at ZeniMax to provide support. The GLT and I are committed to being as transparent as we can. Moving forward with ambiguity is challenging, but I am confident that together we will get through this difficult moment in time. It goes on, Xbox has a long history of success thanks to the work you do in service of players, creators, and each other. Your work is so deeply appreciated and valued in these times of change and is integral to our business momentum. I'm confident in our future and proud to be part of this team, but also conscious that this is a challenging time, and I want to thank you for everything you do here.
Wow.
How do you take that? See, you are kind of more on the economic side of things in life than I am. Let's hear your interpretation.
Standard PR stuff, if you ask me. I think he's putting it out to try to quell people's not ambitions, but anxieties. That's the word.
Yep.
I think, regardless of how he tries to spin it, people are going to look at this a certain way, and people are going to feel a certain way.
Oh yeah.
And there's already been people who've come out who have said that, the ex-employees of Microsoft that say it's being poorly managed and things like that. And you're always going to have people who are no longer with the company that no one gets along with everybody, right? It's just the way it is. I think it's businesses doing businessy things. As much as it sucks, they made a strategic decision. People are going to lose their jobs, but this is just what big business does. I don't know what else to say other than it's not the last time it's going to happen, and expect more. And Nintendo and Sony are not immune from this.
No.
But Microsoft has a lot more types of businesses than Sony. Well, maybe not Sony, but definitely Nintendo. They have many different types, and I hear that these kind of run the gambit. So it's not like they laid off 10,000 people from the video game division. That's not what happened.
But 343 Studios was affected.
Yes, but keep in mind, they were working on Halo Infinite, were they not?
Mm-hmm.
The game's been released. It's been released for a while. They've been doing content updates. For an ongoing game, it does not take as big a team to keep an ongoing game going than to create a game. Yeah. So you don't need as big a development group to keep Infinite going at this point. If they decide to go and start another Halo game, then it's different.
343 has come out, or like the CEO of 343 has come out and said that they're willing to keep the Halo game, the series, going. They're not done. Much to whether that makes you happy or sad, look at Twitter and get an idea. It's very divided. Just from his statement, it was just like, wow, okay. But yeah, it's a tough thing. Life is hard, and decisions like this don't help. And I do feel for those people, and I hope that everyone's able to land on their feet. But at the same, I'm also worried about the acquisition, because that's being used as a weapon in the argument now for these layoffs. Even though we did talk about this kind of spread out all over Microsoft, but it is being used like, well, if Microsoft has enough money to try and buy Activision, why are they firing all these people? Well, that's not the same thing. It's not the same thing.
It's not. It's making a strategic acquisition is not the same as making a specific decision for a development house. It's just not the same. Yeah, it sucks, but it's not the same.
So that's my one kind of big story. I had a couple other minor stories that I really wanted to further expand upon, but the websites were being doo-doo heads and wouldn't let me access the stories. But because I had a happy story. I did have a happy story besides the bad story. I wanted to have a happy one, right? Kind of off balance them. But apparently there is a 9-year-old in, I believe, Colorado, who is amassing a 50-year-old retro gaming collection. Like it's spanning 50 years. He's playing them. That's fantastic. I want to know stories like this. I want to know that the younger generations, the future, is still going back and playing the games that we grew up on and enjoying them still.
Well, there's always people who are in later generations that go back and try those older things. But
it's nice to see it with kids. So.
Unwittingly, because I did not tell Matt about
unwittingly. That's how I live my life. All right?
Unwittingly, because I didn't tell Matt what our topic was going to be that we're going to talk about here in a moment.
Unwittingly and unwillingly.
I don't know about unwillingly, but definitely unwittingly. You segue beautiful into what I was going to say.
Uh-oh.
We have been around for most of gaming history.
We're old.
As it stands right now. We talked about it in the first podcast where we talked about where we came with video games and things like that.
Yeah.
But I wanted to take a moment and just say that I think from a historical point of view that the changes that me and you have lived through in video games may not happen or be so dramatic maybe ever again. And I think we've been privileged to be able to live through the times that we have. Keep in mind, there was a point in time where we played Atari games with a handful of moving sprites, if that, on there. Crude as they were too, you had to use your imagination to think, what the hell am I really looking at? Or if you're playing adventure on the Atari 2600, you're just a dot, but that's your adventurer. So you might as well imagine in your mind that he has a shield, a sword, and is running around defeating the bad guys.
He's running away from a dragon. No, he's running away from a seahorse.
And then we've gone from
with
that.
a duckbill.
But think about that. We started to perfect 2D games. Not really perfect, but made much better 2D games. By the time Sega Genesis, Super Nintendo rolled around, and then we got to live through the 3D transition. There may never be a transition like this one again. And believe me, folks, if you go back and play some of those PlayStation 1 and Sega Saturn 3D games, there are some rough games in there.
We endured so you didn't have to.
Really rough games. But there are some fantastic games in there too.
Yes.
But we got to see it. There are things that we once thought were amazing back then are now kind of like, wow, how did we even think they were that good? Mm-hmm. Think about this. People have this amazing opinion of GoldenEye, and I'm going to pick on one of the most popular games of all time here by saying this. GoldenEye's control scheme sucks. It sucks. It sucks really bad. It sucks.
That's monster_punter at Twitter.
When Halo, but as bad as it was, you didn't know it was that bad back then because that's all you had. But when Halo came out, and it changed the way you play games on console for first-person shooters. At first, I was like, what the heck is this? This is weird. I was expecting GoldenEye, Perfect Dark, and that's not what I got. Thank God it's not what I got. Sometimes you have to, endure it, and now every game uses the Halo style of control scheme with the analog sticks. Every first-person shooter does on console. Every one.
Is it Halo that started that? Or
Halo was the first one that came out with that control scheme on console.
Okay.
And
so I remember around that time was also you're starting to get your other FPS games starting to come to light.
Yeah, but none of them controlled like that.
Yeah.
And we got to see the progression of 3D graphics we got to see the progression of 2D graphics from their infancy to what they are now. And we got to there was a point in history where if you had, the PS360 era and the PS2 era too, where you didn't want a 2D game. 2D games were why are we doing 2D? We have 3D games now, let's make 3D games. And now we're in the middle of this renaissance of 2D pixel art games. We've lived through fascinating times, and I don't know if anybody will be able to live through that again going forward. My nephew that I look at, he's 5 years old. He's playing Roblox like crazy, but I don't think he's ever going to have the same experience, that first wonderment that we got to have when we went through all these phases. I just wanted to point out that I think we're very fortunate. I want everybody to play all those old games and at least understand. You can understand it from a historical standpoint now, but actually living through it was really nice. And I just don't see how it's going to happen going forward. Maybe eventually VR might be it, but VR, they have to have some sort of breakthrough for VR where you don't have to use a helmet or something like that. It's why 3D TVs didn't catch on, because you had to wear glasses, and sometimes powered glasses to even get it to work. What about like hologram gaming? There was those interesting hologram games in the 90s.
Yeah.
That was actually, they were terrible.
Oh, what are you talking about? The hologram fighter was awesome.
You keep telling yourself that.
No, it was hard.
It was neat from a technological point of view, but the gameplay itself was not good.
I won.
That doesn't mean it was good.
Yeah, it does. Because I won. It means it was possible.
Do you have any kind of things you want to point out during this time?
Well, I'm trying to understand what your topic is.
My topic is that we want to, we got, I don't, how do I put it? Like, do you think there will ever be as dynamic a time in video games going forward?
I think so. But I don't think it'll happen the way we imagine it to. For all we know, they could be like, hey, you know what? We found a way to add smell. So now you can play your favorite video game and smell what's happening in the world around you.
Smell-o-vision.
Dude, I'm telling you, you want to smell Bowser? I don't want to smell Bowser. I'm just saying, people might try it.
All of a sudden, there'll be an array of fart games.
But that might be what it is. There might just be, okay, well, what other senses can we add to our video games to immerse people in the experience more? That might be the next step. It might also be like something I mentioned multiple times on here, the point where there's finally a full integration where here is the system. Everyone can play any game they want, but it just makes it simple to play on this system. It runs everything. That might be the step we're going to.
Okay, so that's a different approach than what I'm talking about.
Well,
setting aside the fact that I don't think we'll ever have one system for anything, as I make the gesture to put something aside that you obviously see when you're listening to this podcast. I'm sorry, am I being sarcastic enough? I hope I am. I'm talking about the experience itself, the way you engage a game,
right,
and how you experience it.
Yeah, but I think there will. That's what I'm saying. Like there may very well come a day when everyone will experience playing a game and be like, "Wait, you mean you couldn't always play these games together? You couldn't do like I couldn't play this game with you because you had a different version of the system? That's weird." Or, "Oh, what? You played this game and you couldn't smell? You couldn't hear extra sounds? You couldn't like taste something? I don't know, Could you imagine playing Overcooked and being able to taste what you're making?
Gosh.
Then you have a reason to not suck.
Well...
Right?
You have to do it willingly, of course.
Well, yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, you want to get good at cooking? Play this cooking game.
Has this already been seen, though? I wonder.
I don't know.
Has the future of video games already been shown? And it's just, when is it ever going to happen?
What are you referring to?
Well, there is this thing called the holodeck in Star Trek.
Right.
That would be, and I think it's impossible, at least, especially given the technology we have right now. But if it ever happens...
But I think the problem with that idea, like the holodeck's cool. Let's not kid ourselves. It's not a game system.
Sure.
It is a life experience system. It's something completely different. But you could probably play video games in it, but I don't think you would have the same experience as just playing a video game like you do now. So, because what would I rather do? Would I rather sit there in a room playing Super Mario Brothers, or have a chat with somebody digitally, mentally reconstructed in this space, like somebody I've never gotten to talk to before, like Benjamin Franklin or something, you know? Like, it's a different... I think at that point it really is apples and oranges. But I think it would be cool to have a gaming system advance to that point. I think it would be cool too. Will it ever happen? I don't know. I don't observe in many absolutes anymore in my life, because I've learned too many times that just about anything can happen.
We can agree on one thing though.
What?
It's not the metaverse.
It never will be.
All right. That's all I got for today.
That's all I got for today. That's a bit. So let us know what you guys think in the comments down below.
Do you have any kind of ideas? And comment, you know, are you fortunate to have lived through some of the stuff we did? What's your opinion? What were some of the things you felt during these transition periods? Tell us down below. I want to hear.
Yeah. And, you know, maybe we'll do a separate unconventional canon timeline podcast where we actually delve into this topic a little further. Who knows? We got plenty of ideas. We got a brainstorm between Monster and I. We're going to try and figure out some new stuff. We definitely want to try new things out. We want to try and, not only get your attention, keep your attention, but, the whole point of this is to inform you of what's going on in the world of video gaming, and then tell you how much we love video games and why our opinions matter the most, I guess.
My opinions matter to me, I guess.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, and just you. Just you.
It's just me.
But anyways, definitely let us know in the comments down below what you think. When you like the video, you let us know that you're listening and that you actually enjoy what we're doing. Don't like to like. I kind of feel like I need to start saying that at the beginning of the podcast from now on. But don't like to like. Don't subscribe to subscribe. Like, it's our way of gauging if what we're doing is reaching people in a good way. And if it's not, we need to know. So give us those comments. If you do like this, please like it. If you do want to know more, please consider subscribing, hitting the notification bell, let you know when more of these come out. Beyond that, I hope you guys have yourselves a fantastic day. I hope your games are awesome this week. And I look forward to talking to you guys again in the future. And we'll see you guys in the next one.
Take care.
Later.